5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
You blitz all night. And if they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm going to take every last one of you out.
Hey, the blitz is coming, boys.
What's going on? Welcome back to the Blitz, where I give you the latest and greatest in news, tips, tricks, and advice to get you ready for the fantasy football season in 5 minutes or less. Now, one of the biggest trades went down between the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason, sending wide receiver George Pickens to the Cowboys. So in this episode, I'm breaking down why this trade is great news for fantasy football and why fantasy managers should be all over Pickens heading into the fantasy football season. But before we jump into this episode, make sure that you're following the Fantasy's Finest YouTube channel for the latest episodes of The Blitz. And you can also find The Blitz in audio format on your favorite podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or, wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, without further ado, let's talk about this George Pickens trade and its impact for fantasy football this coming season. Now, to begin, let's quickly get the details of the trade between the Steelers and Cowboys out of the way. The Steelers received a 2026 third-round pick and swapped 2027 fifth-round picks with the Cowboys for George Pickens. The Cowboys, finally doing something right for a change, fixed one of their biggest issues this offseason, providing a much-needed wide receiver to pair with CeeDee Lamb. This will give Dak Prescott arguably the best wide receiver tandem that he's had to work with since CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper came together a few seasons ago. But the fantasy implications are much better than some might believe. But won't Pickens want the ball a ton, and won't that hurt CeeDee Lamb's fantasy stock because he'll have to give up targets? Well, the short answer is no. As far as targets go, Lamb may see a small reduction in targets now that Pickens is there, but not enough for fantasy managers to concern themselves with. For example, last season, Dak Prescott was averaging nearly 36 pass attempts per game. Over an entire season, that would have amounted to nearly 609 pass attempts, a career high had he stayed healthy through the 2024 season. Lamb led all Cowboys wide receivers with 152 targets. But with Pickens coming over and sliding in as the wide receiver 2 for the Cowboys, he could potentially absorb the 12.4% target share Jalen Tolbert had and the 15.6% target share that was commanded by Brandon Cooks, who left in free agency during the offseason. That's a total of 133 targets combined for Pickens to play with. That's more than enough targets to go around for both Lamb and Pickens to coexist in the same offense. But Schottenheimer said that he wants to get the running game back together, and that could bring down pass attempts. Well, while that's possible, the Seattle Seahawks offense back when Schottenheimer was the OC didn't suffer for a lack of pass attempts. As a matter of fact, Russell Wilson was on the north side of the top 15 in pass attempts among quarterbacks under Schottenheimer from 2018 through 2020. While the Cowboys want to get the run game going, I expect the Cowboys to lead with the passing attack first, at least in the beginning of the season. The offensive line and the running back room may take a couple games to get on the same page, so there could be some hiccups here or there for the run game. But George Pickens should be viewed as an enticing wide receiver 2 in fantasy football, kind of like T. Higgins. Pickens' deep threat ability should also be appealing for fantasy managers, as there's a lane for Pickens to have huge days with chunk plays. During the 2024 season, Pickens finished 5th in air yards per game at 100.1 per. That was better than A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson, all receivers who were drafted ahead of Pickens last season. Pickens also finished as a top 15 wide receiver in targets in both the end zone and the red zone, showcasing that he could be used as another scoring threat for the Cowboys offense. And of course, it wouldn't be right to not mention Pickens' contested catching ability. Pickens finished with 13 contested catches on 29 targets in 2024 with a 44.8 completion rate, ranking him 10th among wide receivers according to fantasydata.com. Pickens' ADP is still somewhere in the late 30s over a couple of big name sites, but I think that will change as we get closer to training camp. Pickens may still be a value come draft season, but I don't think fantasy managers should overlook what Pickens can mean for both the Cowboys offense and fantasy football this season. But That'll wrap it up for another episode of The Blitz. Make sure that you're subscribed to the Fantasy's Finest YouTube channel or on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you don't miss on the next coming episode. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yo, come back now, yeah?